Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Estonian Football Podcast. We are back after a month off. It's July, August roundup, I suppose. We've got European games, we've got national team coming up. Thanks again for joining us, Martin. How are you?
I'm very well. I was missing it a little bit, you know. We had a great routine every month. We're gonna record it, but listen, we are also busy people having our own lives, as well as watching all the games, you know. So I think the people will hopefully will let us off that we missed the 1 month.
What happened in the month where we didn't record? As in for you,
Uh,
you joined a new
you
club.
wanna
Yeah.
segue to me? That was smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot has happened. Yeah, my season in Italy ended in middle of May, so I had a lot of time to think about my next decision. Why are you smiling like that?
It's just how we brought it in, that was all.
And
Hey,
yeah,
I'll
a lot.
say we're happy for you. That's what it is. We're just happy for you.
I'm blessed, you know, to have friends like that. But yeah, a lot has happened, and I really, you know, deep down, I wanted to continue still in you know as in a big level as it was possible, but it was not possible for me. And so I had a little bit of time off in summer, so I just was like, listen, I have time. I will just do the exams for the university, and I got in. So now I moved to Tartu, a new city. Now I can add it to my list. You know, Tallinn, Narva, Pärnu, Rome, and now Tartu. So yeah, and now I joined Elva as well, as it's out now already. So yeah, it's an exciting new chapter. And yeah, let's see what it brings to me.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so we always wish you the best and let's go. And go on your debut, first touch, and then a shitty
Yeah.
sit and miss as well.
No, we don't have to talk about it. But the thing is, with the miss, the referee is my friend. Uh, he works in esport, where I get my boots. And so next time when I when I went to visit him, and then he talked to me like, listen, he told me that he was laughing behind me when I missed the chance. But nah, like at the end we won, so it's all good.
Sort of matters. So then that's beautifully tied us into the Premier League. Your first club, Levadia. We'll start with them. Um, for me personally, I think they've won a lot of games since we last recorded. They've only lost once to Vapras, who are a completely different thing at the minute. Had European games. Overall, are Levadia where we expect them to be?
I think
I'll
there's yeah, Nate, you can say.
sorry, I'll just jump in because yeah, I feel like with especially with the Vapras defeat, I was actually quite happy with it because Flora have been, which we get onto in a bit, have been winning as well, and I feel like we've actually got a title race. Whereas last year that wasn't really there. So for me, them losing was great. Was it 9 in a row before that loss when they won? Something like that, yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I find it. I'm happy they lost. I'm glad Flora are winning. It just builds that excitement. Like, wouldn't it be great if Flora pipped them at the end of the season? I know most people would disagree with that because I know the general feeling of Flora, but like for the neutral watching it, wouldn't that be fantastic?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think obviously there's this little bit of me that listen, I was a former Levadia guy, so obviously I want them to do well, but Estonia is so small. So there are so many players who have represented so many clubs. So at the end, like you support pretty much everybody. And I think for a neutral as well, I think it was great to see that Levadia were not is not that ahead that maybe we were scared of at the start of the season. So yeah, it's completely valid point from you that it's now a more exciting title race.
Is September going to be the month, sorry, where we might see a bit more faltering from them through July and August? As I don't, we always talk about there's no easy game, but the biggest game they probably had was against Paida. The other games were against the teams that were lower in the league. Vatprus obviously did them. September, they've got Flora and Karyu back to back. Are those games that will decide the title? Obviously, we've got like 10 games left to play. Are those two games what will win the league for Levadia?
Going back to what we are saying about title race, they've got Flora twice in September. And
okay.
Yeah, again, for the neutral, if Flora win one, they go top. Essentially, that's if we're saying they're currently staying on pace as where they are with they just keep both of them keep winning. If Flora beat them once, they go top. So there's that. But yeah, I agree. I think even for the whole league, you look at the fixtures for everyone in the whole league, and I feel like it can just start opening up more. There's stuff down the bottom, there's stuff down the top. But I have also like jotted down what I feel like how many points they'd probably be happy with. I don't think Levadia will lose both games to Flora.
They've not beaten Flora this season, which is they've drew one and they lost one. So these two games, there's that extra oomph.
I feel like they have to win them because Kuro Torres is going to be sweating it anyway. I feel like at the end of the year because of the Euro. I don't think he'll be there next season. So if he loses, especially if he loses twice to Flora, I feel like he might not even finish the season with Levadia. It's a hot take, I know, but
I think Flora don't have that amount of pressure that Levadia has because I don't think Vasiljev, like Konstantin Vasiljev, has like a target set by the club that you need to win the title this year because the club is so young. The team is so young. They've changed a lot of players to change. New coach, even though he's so experienced as a player, I think as a coach, it's completely a different thing. So even though I don't know the insides in the club, then I'm pretty sure that the target for the club wasn't the title this season. I think maybe next season. That's why I think Levadia has a little bit more pressure to perform. But even though nothing is black and white, we can say that, okay, if Levadia wins, then they will be the title winners because as long as it's mathematically possible, it's open. But in my opinion, if Levadia wins both games against Flora, I think it's done. Because I can't see Levadia slipping points, maybe against Vaprus when we get to them. But no, they are very consistent. They have, the squad depth is massive, and I think the longer the season goes on, the more important the squad depth becomes. And I think Levadia just has the upper end if they win both games.
Do you think they were a bit lazy in the transfer market, Levadia?
I wouldn't say that because you don't, even though you do have to reinforce the squad, I think you have to be smart about it, not just to bring in players just for the sake of bringing them in. And just looking at the squad, there weren't really any places to strengthen. Maybe just the number 9, but they do have Dambedu. Yes, he's been so up and down, but recently he's again scored goals. He scored in the European games as well. So it's not like he's been like completely garbage. He's still performing. So maybe if a little bit criticized, maybe a proper number 9. But apart from that, they have such a big squad. So I don't really see any reason to be desperate in the transfer market.
I feel like they've got certain players as well that have just started picking up form because I felt like Yao Pedro started really slow this season. And I thought Aguirre did as well. And I feel like both of them have now just started kind of just to wake up a bit, if that makes sense.
So, I would say Sakarliuka has been gone under the radar. He is he's not in the starting 11, but every time Levadia is in trouble and he comes on in the 75th, 80th minute, he always changes the game. So I'm always hoping like maybe next game he's in the starting 11 now because of the performance he was last game, but no, it's always on the bench again. So, uh, but yeah, Levadia have they have so many players, as you said, they still haven't reached the top four shop veterans players like that. So yeah, the squad is crazy.
So they quickly before we move on then to Flora, I'll ask the question: will Kuro Torres be there next season, regardless of what happens?
No,
I think he
I
will
don't
be.
think so.
He just brought in his son, so I think I think he will be there next season, uh, and I think then the next year's European Games will like decide,
I
and
don't know.
then
I feel like the manner in which they went out of Europe this year, going back, he had 3 European goes, and each time's been, they've been kind of unlucky in the draws that we can say for the previous years. But with this year, I think with the friendliness of the draw they had and the fact that they could have played Drita from Kosovo in the playoff to get into a group stage, which is winnable, and then lose into the manner they lost to a part-time team who had just started their season. I feel like I don't know. I just feel like he wouldn't want to do it again. That's how I see it. Maybe not from like a Victor Levadia point of view, maybe a Kuro Torres point of view. It's kind of I don't want to do this.
yeah, but I've been inside the dressing room and like listen, maybe Victor Levada has changed, maybe he's become a bigger man, and but normally if he's 100% certain on one thing, for example, results haven't been great, they want to like change manager, then he will do it after the game. It's done. Next week, there will be. He will come to the training ground. He will say, "Listen, he's not longer the coach." But there's been so much time after the European Games now, so he will still be there 100% till the end of the season, and I don't see the point then changing it if they win the title.
No, fair enough. And yeah, he brought his son in, who's actually a decent player as well. So
Yeah, it's always criticized. I remember during my days uh, we had Ratnikov as a coach, and he brought his son as well. And there was a clause in the contract that if the manager gets sacked, then the player goes with him. So I don't know if it's the similar story with Torres, but there's always a little bit uncomfortable when it's father and son. That's with every workplace, I think.
It's funny that because Yeovil just sacked their manager and his son plays for them as well, and he didn't travel with the squad for the last game. So maybe there was a clause in his contract as well.
But we have. I mean, that's a little bit different story. But for example, in Narva, the father is the president and the son is the sporting director. And why, for example, in world football or even in Estonian clubs, sporting director has been sacked because of poor performances. They haven't brought in quality players. But in Narva's case, like obviously I'm just making a random example. Narva's doing great this season, but just in general, if your son is not performing, not bringing in good quality players, will the father sack his son and bring in another person for the sporting director role? I mean, that's what happens if you have a family business.
yeah, okay. Let's move on to second place then, Flora. Unbeaten through July and August. Obviously, they lost in the European Games, which was really disappointing to Vala in Iceland. Got humbled by those, which was a shame. But in the league, they're unbeaten. They're 2 points behind Levadia. So Vasilev, young coach, first season. how well has he done at Flora this year, Martin?
I'm surprised. I have to say, I think I'm maybe among most majority of the people who thought that the Flora will struggle. But listen, we have to give respect to them. They've a bit gone under the radar because we talk only about, I think, Levadia mostly, and Paide's change of coaches and new players and all the Africans coming in, and Kalju also as well having the headlines of the sales, and stuff. So Flora is just doing their own business and they're doing amazingly. I mean, yeah, just apart from the European games, which were really, really disappointing. But now the young squad have, I think, understood more clearly about Vasiliev's philosophy, and even their most recent game against Kalev. I mean, yeah, okay, Kalev is not the most informed team in the league, but they still the way it was actually a difficult first half for them. It was 0-0, but they remained calm. They found their ways. They didn't panic. So, I mean, it shows that they have the maturity in the young squad as well.
Yeah, I was just gonna say literally the same words that you said, that they've kind of gone under the radar. And we talk about, other teams on this podcast, being like doing this, doing this, doing this, but I don't think we've actually credited how well Flora have done this year. And it's nice to see them back, obviously, because they did, they are going through what you could call a rebuild, I suppose. But yeah, I think they've been really good, and agree. I did watch the Kalev game. Kalev really frustrated them in the first half, like really frustrated them. And I actually thought it's going to be one of those games where Kalev will hold on, get a point. But yeah, professional is a good word for it. Yeah.
I mean, Aliko, Aliko helped the team so much. And that's, again, an amazing example of why you need experienced players in the team. And that's why everybody criticized Kalev's transfer philosophy, between the two seasons, because they got rid of every single experienced player apart from Purja State. But you need them. You absolutely need them. And that's why, again, Aliko came in. I mean, I think he started, not didn't just come in.
Yeah.
But yeah, he, the way he was so calm in front of the goal, he just knows where to be. And so, yeah, Flora is, I think they will fight with Levadia all the way till the end. That's my prediction.
Do you think, how I usually look at when I look at a starting 11 is the core four, right? So your goalkeeper, your best defender, your best midfielder, your best attacker. Do you feel like Flora has that best in the league? Sapinen, Poom, you could chuck in Tugias as the defender and then Grunwald as the goalie. Do you think that is the best four if you had to build a four-a-side team? Do you think that's the best?
They signed Kreda as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, so and so. I mean, yes, Sapinen, obviously one of the best strikers ever in Estonia, but he's not in the level right now as he's been before. Especially after the injury, it's not easy to come back from this type of injury. So, I mean, yeah, if you just think about the competition, I mean, who is the biggest competitors for the spine? Just based on form, it's Vaprus, but it's not experience or anything like that. It's just based on form right now. But
because how I look at it is back in the days where Chelsea had, don't compare it to Chelsea, but when Czech, Terry, Lampard, and Drogba were all starting, you could put whoever else around them, and they'd be fine. So I'm just saying, with this Flora team, if you've got that spine and base, as you said, they're always going to be up there challenging.
Yeah, I think especially in Estonian League, this will make a difference. And yeah, I mean, on top of my head, I think I don't see at the moment, or it doesn't pop into my head, a team that has a better spine. So I guess, I mean, you could say obviously is Grunwald better than Valner or even Nõmm? I don't know, I mean, Oitnem, so I don't know, but it's like a little bit 50-50 in some departments. But overall, I think they might have the best point.
I think he's better than Valner. Not huge difference, just a little bit. I do.
I mean, yeah, it's debatable. It's
Yeah.
it's
It's an opinion. Yeah.
it's an opinion. We can have opinions.
Yeah.
It's personal with Valner, but we'll talk about that off camera. Right. Anyway, moving on to Pida. It's the same how I feel with Pida. With like every time we talk about them, they're good, but they're not good. Vashilev's got them playing well, but then sometimes you watch him play and it's frustrating. I kind of like to compare him to like the Tottenham of Estonia, where you feel like they've got a squad good enough to compete with a league title, but then obviously it was never going to happen this year. But third place, it's good. They've signed some, Henry Anya's come in. They've lost Robbie Sama. Disappointing loss against Vaprus, just gone. But again, Vaprus is we're best team in the league at the minute. So other than that, everything for Piders seems to be going okay. What do we reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar kind of thing. What you said. I think they've been okay. They had Europe as well, of course, where they played AEK from Sweden and obviously lost quite heavily, but it was expected. They weren't expected to beat them. Ania coming back, I think, a nice signing. He hasn't he scored against Temeka.
He's got 2 goals at the moment.
2 goals. I've only got one on my list. I do apologise. Poor note taking on my account. But I'd say I've been impressed with the Gambians. I feel like they've all stepped up recently, especially with Sama gone, and you need someone to kind of replace what they've done. Kors scoring goals, Champ scoring goals. I feel like with Pida they are what they are, and they're always going to be there or thereabouts, and they'll never be anything less.
Yeah, the foreigners, you said it well. I think they've been good. I would say that none of them have been exceptional. For example, like Mohamed Saneh was, or David also, or even Yatta when he was scoring. And so they haven't been like a proper standout guy, but they've been all right. They've been good, and especially I'm actually quite a big fan of the new Brazilian guy. What was his name? I don't know.
Gabriel. Is that
Yeah.
him? William Gabriel.
He's sharp, and I mean he looks like a footballer. I really like his the way he controls the ball and the flair he has. So he was definitely exciting signing. And I can see that he's a little bit like a level above the other foreigners. But now it's just up to him if he can actually adapt to the league, adapt to the style of play and stuff. But overall, I mean, they're I think the comparison to Tottenham is quite accurate. I mean, they're really good. If you look at the team, I mean, they have potential to be the best team in the league. But there's always something that it's not clicking. And what it is exactly, I don't know. It's been this. I think it's like the same problem last few years now. And I was really expecting them to be in the title race this season. I mean, like why wouldn't you? I mean, because the starting level is good. In the summer they have so many new exciting foreigners coming in always. But I think the biggest issue with Vladimir Vasiljev has been that he hasn't, I think, found the proper starting 11, or it seems to me like it, because there were some games when Merits was playing, Jari was nowhere to be seen. Then again, Jari was back. Then again, Merits was playing. Now last game, Jari was playing. So then Lilander with the same. He wasn't starting 11 at all. I think he was even sent to play for the second team at one point, I remember. And now again, last few games, been in a starting lineup. So you have to find like a consistency, like because you have solid guys who's always there for you. That you have especially in the back line. You can rotate up front, but back line should be the same guys.
Talking to a footballer, in their defeat to Vatprus just gone this weekend, the 2 red cards that they received. If you're a player, I'm hoping you've seen them.
Yeah.
Great. Were they red cards?
That's a good question. I mean, they were debatable. Okay, let's start with let's take the Virgo Valix one. I mean, this is like, I don't know. I think like absolutely every single red card was like 50-50. I think the most the most like red card I think was the Tristan Pajot situation, because I mean, yeah, he was okay facing like the ball, but he was turning and he deliberately like properly pulled him, and he was the last man. So you can kind of understand it, but the other 2, I don't know. I mean, the challenge on Lillander, it was definitely nasty, but to give like a straight like a red, I think it's harsh. I think it was a little bit like on hindsight. I think it was because but Paide already had 2 red cards, so I think he was like, okay, this was like a 50-50. I will give it the red as well. Then it's like kind of even, you know. It felt to me like that. But the second Paide red, I think that's not a red for me. What do you guys think?
I've actually not seen it yet.
I think all 3 were really harsh. I really do.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, I can like I kind of agree with what you were saying. I can see why he's given it as a red, but I also feel like a yellow would have been fair. Like the Baranov one as well, which was so early, and I remember watching it and I was just thinking like, oh, it's just a foul, you know, kind of thing. And then the red card come out, you're like, oh, okay, and then yeah, I don't know. I feel like in a top league, Premier League, Bundesliga, Serie A, whatever, they're not red cards. But like the laws of the game are the same, right? But I just feel like you wouldn't see a red card for that in those leagues.
No, but no, you can't say that, because yes, the laws of the game are the same, but there's always like people always say that this is a foul in La Liga, but it's not a foul in the English Premier League. I mean, even though the laws of the games are the same. So there's in every league, there's always different style of play. You know, there's allowed different styles. But just the problem in our league is that something is like a more major thing is not a red, but like this like 50-50 silly thing is a red. That we just have so much inconsistency. You know, that's the problem.
Yeah, fair enough. Are they going to stay third?
Yeah.
I think so, because Kallio has been like, we're gonna talk about Kallio next, and they've been struggling. I think really struggling, and Narva has also a little bit lost the momentum. I think after the Caporas transfer, and Vaporus is, even though they are killing it, they're just, you know, I mean, they're
a bit too far behind.
a bit too far from third place.
Okay, well, let's talk about Kalyu then. They've not been great, especially with Europe as well. Went out to St. Patrick's of Ireland. They've, between July and August, they've lost 3 games, including back-to-back to Vatprus and Narva. I remember when I texted you about the predictions, Martin, and I believe it was might have been the Vatprus one where you selected Vatprus on your predictions to beat Kalyu. We were like, really? And you said, yeah, I just don't think they've been great. And you were right.
Because yeah, like you can see from the game style that something is not flowing anymore, and I don't know what it is. I have no idea. Maybe just like the Super Cup hangover is still there, or not the Super Cup, the cup final hangover is still there. But yeah, something is not clicking, and even today against Kuressaare, I think obviously at the end it was, you know, a solid win, but the game flow is still not there, and they've lost some kind of a momentum. Maybe lost a little bit of confidence. Maybe they had to change the way they played after the Guillermo's transfer. I don't know, but yeah, when like a couple of months ago we were so certain. Okay, today Kalju is playing, probably they're gonna win. You know, we're confident. Now it's like, I don't know, like it's 50-50, you know.
So we're talking, I think it was like April, May time, they went on a stretch where they won 8 games in a row. Since then, they've only won 6 games. They've lost 4 games out of their last 8, which, a message came through the other day, does Andrew survive the season? Does he get the chop? Guilmer's gone. They got rid of a lot of players in the window, like a lot of what would you call it? Like not trash, but just players who aren't performing or who barely played, who weren't seen. They've signed more attacking players as well, a Nigerian guy. Do you feel like they focus too much on the attacking players? Because every time I see Käos sign someone, I'm like, another striker.
Because when you bring in a foreigner, you always bring them up front. They're very rarely when you bring in like a defensive guy who's a foreigner. Baida is doing it like a couple of times. But at the end of the day, why do you bring in like a foreigner? It's because, obviously, to make the squad stronger, but it's because you make them shine and then you just sell them to make a profit. You just want money, and it's much more difficult to sell that defender. So that's why the clubs are more focusing on the attacking sides, and the Estonians are covering the defensive lines. And just in our market, we don't have much options for defensive defensive line. And it's a big risk to bring in somebody from the AC Liga or from the second teams. The quality is so much bigger.
Fine. So then going back to what we were saying, do we think Andrew stays because of the form they had, or Ron?
I've been discussing it with a couple of my friends. I think Andreas' job is a little bit more in jeopardy than Torres's one. But that's just that's just my opinion. But it seems to me like it.
I feel like they've allowed him to do what he wants to do, like build the squad he wants without any interference or whatever. And then when it was great, it was great. And now the wheels are starting to slowly fall off. And then the European defeats. I agree with you. I feel like his job is in jeopardy.
Do you feel like it's kind of like the Arsenal thing with Arteta, just trust the process? Although it'd be a long 5 years, wouldn't it, of watching Andrew football?
I mean, I think that obviously, listen, like the dream for every club is to get into European group stage, obviously. But that's what maybe, again, that's just my opinion, but I think that's maybe just a hope for the clubs. Why they want to get win the title and second, third, or win the cup is that they get the European spot and they get the money. But I think in Kaljo's situation, they made so much profit. They sold Promise, they sold Guilherme. So I think it's like, okay, if we don't win the title, if we're not top 2, it's not a problem. We still made the profits this year. We probably have Promise's sell-on clause. If he goes to English Premier League, for example, with like rumors has been, they get another maybe bonus from that. So it's not like they necessarily have backs against the wall. Okay, we need to get this title. We need to get Champions League spot, group stages to earn, to be net positive. So maybe that's why they're a little bit, they don't have this fire anymore. But I don't know the real reason, obviously.
Yeah, but to compete, like the money from Europe, I have got it somewhere. I did do a tweet. It was about the prize money that, €500,000. Cal, you got just from.
I mean, I think if Promise would be sold, for example, next season, they will get more than half a mil from the sale anyway, I think.
Yeah, but then you can say it like that, but what if, God forbid, he doesn't? Just all of a sudden, the team no longer wants to use him. He just rots in the reserves, and then they just let his contract run. You can't just bank on that, can you?
I mean,
I hope Brighton pay 30 mil for him, so we get 10% of it.
No, it's not like it's not like I think that's what's going on, but just it's one of a possibility
Yeah,
because they're maybe a little bit comfortable because they know that they made sales, they have made some cash, they will probably make some cash in the future as well. Is it next season or the 2 seasons? They don't know. So when recent years they've been really, really struggling because they have had financial issues because of they haven't been in the European spot for many, many years and they didn't make any big sales as well, So they were really fighting to get back into top four, to get into, European place. And I think maybe now it's just, they made sales, they made profit. It's, if the season is second, third, fourth, it's not such a big issue.
okay. Do they get Europe this year?
No.
So I think they do. I mean, they do get that. I think they will finish in the top four.
It depend on the next year's cup winner though? And then it would be
that's something
obviously-
Nate has to find out.
I think if the cup winner is someone who's not the top three, then they get it instead of whoever fourth would be. I could be wrong, but then the likelihood is the cup winner will be someone in the top three, right? So
Yeah, but I think they do get the European spot.
I think they come fourth, definitely.
yeah, of course they will. Yeah, no, fair.
I mean, the gap between Narva, like we're gonna talk about them, it's only 2 points, so it's pretty close.
Let's move on to Narva then. Do we think they've got the steam to catch Kalyu? They've obviously lost Cabor to Hearts in Scotland, but they have signed Gero from Levadia. Different kind of players, but both quality players. They're quality that Narva needs to get to that level they want to be at. So despite losing Cabor and getting Gero, do you think they have that in them to get to fourth place?
I think that Narva can beat anyone in that league. If they turn up, again, very inconsistent, I believe their strength is actually their midfield. You might think I'm wrong, but with Maximkin and Gapsev, I think they're brilliant. If they can keep those two fit and those two playing, I think they can beat anyone. I think, especially Maximkin. In my head, all I can see is him in a Kalyu shirt next year, and I really hope he doesn't. But that's like what I can see. But I think he's such a good player.
Yeah, I think maybe you think about it like that because he has like a Russian name. But I do see him suiting the kind of style. I agree with you. I think, listen, I think Gero is a fantastic signing for Narva. I really do think that's why I brought him in my fantasy team as well. I think he's a completely different player compared to Cabora, but he's very similar to Tokke, and they both can be at the pitch at the same time. It works so well, and they've been swapping each other out as well occasionally. So I think Narva has they've been solid. They've been very, very solid. They had a couple of losses against Paide, and against Levadia. But overall, I think they've been solid. They've been maybe again we don't talk about them as much because Vaprus is doing so well, and maybe some other teams are taking the limelight. But Narva has been doing a great job, and Kozlovsky is I think he's doing the best he can with the team he has.
I mean, yeah, we talk about say that Narva's being inconsistent, but they've not really lost much since we last recorded. They've got some. They got wins against Kalyu. They've got a point against Flora. They even took a point off Vaprus before they went on their run. So they've got quality in the team. And, I agree with you, we don't talk about them as much because there's always something else going on around them that has much more. But they've got a decent defense, they've got a decent goalkeeper, their midfield is good, the strikers are good. Okay, they lost Kabul, but yeah, as you say, Gera and Doka, they're similar players who can. The Ukrainian striker as well, I like him. Kozushko, usually comes off the bench, has a little run around. So I don't think they've been as inconsistent as what Nate said. With I don't think that's true.
So just add they've already beat last season's point total as well. So 10 games to go, and they're 3 points ahead of what they got for the whole of last year, which is a positive. The new pitch as well. Things are good in Narva. Hopefully, say we've mentioned it all the time with Narva, where they just dispose of the whole squad, which this year they kind of didn't. But I'm hoping this year again they can keep the squad together, keep hold of Maxim Kit, and not let him go to Kalyu, and and push on and really challenge for third or fourth, because I believe they can. I think the foundations are definitely there.
Yeah. I think they're maybe similar problem like Paide, that they need to be more consistent. That's why Levadia's been and Flora have been so successful. They've just been consistent. They haven't all the time killed the games off. They've been not 3-4, 5-0, but they've just been consistently performing till the last second of the game. And you mentioned the midfield. I mean, you mentioned Maximkin, Shorolov is there. Polyakov came back from the injury recently. And, they even have Iri. And I don't really know why, but he's playing for the second team for a couple of games now, I've realized. But yeah, they have depth as well. And Schlein also, let's not forget about Schlein in midfield. So they have a very, very solid side. And listen, yeah, maybe this season is not going to happen, but why not push for top 3 next season?
So you go. No, you go.
Okay, I was just going to say, do you feel they'll stay 5th this year and just happily consolidate that?
I think they will. As much as I want, obviously, Vapros to keep going and going. I still think that they will finish 6th. I think Narva, they will fight till the end with Kalju, I think, for the 4th spot. I think it will be very, very close. I think Vaide will, get away. I think with Kalju, I'll still kind of a little bit give the edge to Kalju, because I just looking at the paper, they have the strong squad and better players. But I think Narva, I think, will finish 5th in my opinion.
So looking at the fixtures, Kalju have Paide next, Narva have Hayu, and then the game after they have each other. So September seems to be, as we spoke about, September is going to be a really interesting month for the title race, the top 4, even down in the relegations, which we'll get to. So yeah, the September pod should be pretty decent.
The best league in the world.
Exactly.
Talking about the best team in the world, let's now move to statistically the best team in the world. Yeah, Vapros, who has just been on this unbelievable run. They've won every single game in August. They stuffed Temeka 8-1, which just come out of nowhere. They beat Levadia, they beat Paide, they beat Kalju. They've only lost once over the 2-month span, which was to Kura of all teams. And they've just, amazing run. Players, Palbo's been brilliant. Value's been brilliant. Paio's been brilliant. I don't even know what to say. They've just been brilliant.
These are the moments where you just sit back and enjoy, and you don't have to think too much. It's great what they're doing, and with a small squad. I mean, they did make one signing, brought in a young kid from Flora.
Yeah, Roland Lucas.
Yeah, so it will be interesting to see how he will fit in. I can't see him being in the starting 11, as of today though. But yeah, I'm just maybe one concern is the squad depth. That's the only thing. But at the moment, everything's working well. Kapper, and Enrico have dyed their hair blonde, and they're bowling. So it's good. It's good to see, and yeah, just hope they can keep up. I mean, I think in September. I mean, next game is against Flora. It's a little bit sad that it's like an international break in between. Otherwise, maybe it can kind of lose the momentum, but I hope it's not going to lose it.
It's funny you say that. I saw on Twitter, so an Everton fan actually said the same thing, saying like, "We're finally happy," and now there's a fucking international break to ruin it.
It can obviously, like I've been in the situation. It can a little bit disrupted, but it's not like a big thing. I think overall players are happy they can get a rest, that they can recover and get a couple of days off to be there with families. I think it is not gonna have too much of an impact.
So we talk about, we all chuck a hot take in here and there. With the national team being announced, Carol Erm's been called up from Hayu. Do we feel like anyone from Vaprus could be in there? Maybe Otnum as the third goalkeeper. He's performed well, like not just on this run, but all season. Do we feel like anyone's been overlooked?
Halberg. I know it's too early. I know, but yeah, you could say even like Tristan Pio. Like if you've got players like Carol Erm being called up, why not give like Pio a go or someone like that, or even Kevin alone as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm a little bit in a difficult situation because, I know the players; they're my friends. So obviously, I want all of them to be called up, but it's not realistic. I think Palberg is the only concern for me is that he's 16. I think that's he's doing well. I think that's a little bit too early to be called in the senior team. I think he was called to. Was it under 18 or 19? Okay, I think he should have been called up to under 21. I think that should have been a step. Because if I remember correctly, when I was there, then I think Karja Cobain was very, very young, and he was called not to the A national team, but he was also to under 21 when he was very, very young. So I think that's what should have happened to Palberg.
Do you feel like, because Vaprus aren't your typical top 4 team, so if a player gets called up from Vaprus, the world goes mad. What's he doing in the team? He plays for Vaprus. But do you feel like a player should be called up if they're playing well, regardless of, the Premium League is Estonia's top division. So if you're playing well in that league, do you feel like you should be called up? I know there's players all over Europe who deserve to be in there as well, but what's your stance on that?
I mean, it's not so black and white. You have to take into consideration so many details. I think that it's right to have preference, for a player that plays in a stronger team. I think that's normal. We can listen. But life is not fair. We can talk about world football. For example, England national team. You have, for example, Tomori, who is absolutely bowling in Italy, one of the best leagues in the world, but he's not even in the shortlist, or he's not called up. And then some bloke from Manchester United in the 60th position is gonna get the call up, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely everywhere. It's not like just our problem. I think that it does matter how well your team plays. I think it's a crucial point, because at the end of the day, it's it's you score goals, you have an impact on the team, to help them to win the game. It's not just for you. But we do have to appreciate, and if we have like a gems, for example, Palberg, we have to, and as well Erme, then we have to, promote them as well. It's a difficult like line. It's just, it's the way world works. It's not black and white.
But at the same time, right, you've still got to be a really good player to play for your country, right? Like they're not
Yeah,
just calling up, for example, because he scored 12 goals or 13 goals, whatever he's on. They must see the talent there, right?
that's what I think has changed in the past years. I think they take players with the best form. It's like, okay, you have a player that's, listen, but I'm just making like something up. It's not, I don't deliberately talk about like a player in mind, but for example, a player hasn't done anything for 2 3 months and then has a 1 2 month like perfect thing, and then he's called up to the national team. That doesn't make sense to me, because a national team, that's like the highest quality of the players we have. And normally those players that just are right now in a good form, they are not actually better than the guys that are not, you know. But yeah, our market is small anyway. I mean, we it's not like we are in a top footballing country in the world. We have so many players to choose from, and it just happens that often there's a player called up that's maybe not deserving to be there, but we just don't have anybody else in that position.
Yeah. So back to Vapris, 6 points behind Narva, 10 games to play. Can they catch him?
Yeah, I think I think they will. I think I listen. It's difficult, you know. I mean, the sixth place is guaranteed, and that's for sure. You know,
Yeah.
the gap is so big with the seventh place. Uh, I don't want to predict anything. I just want to let the universe decide. But I just hope it will be. I hope can maintain it till the end of the season.
I think their most wins they've got in a season is 12. They're currently on 11 with 10 to play. So
Was it Nate that said that Narva is having the best season in the history
from last season?
Okay,
from last season, yeah.
From last season, because Vaprus is right now. I mean, I think the best season was in 2023.
Yeah, it's when Caleb got third, wasn't it? And then
and we had like 46 points or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think they will crush it. So I think they're on the course of making the history again. So
I say yeah. I hope they keep it up, because they are a very likable team. You know, so
48 points.
48.
Yeah.
So not far off it.
No, they need 3 wins essentially.
Easy.
And they've won 5 in a row, so it's easy, right? Just keep doing that.
Don't say that.
No, I'd said, just to add on what you said about catching Narva, I think it's only 6 points, and 6 points in football is small, right? It's 2 wins, it's 2 defeats. That's how I see it. But then for that, obviously, you need Narva to lose games, and you'll need Vapris to win games. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's just, it's fun to be on that side at the moment. not playing. We can debate it.
Yeah. It'd be different if you were still a Vapris player, wouldn't it? Well,
I was actually thinking about it, that I think if I would have returned to Premium Liga, maybe not even Vaprus, but somewhere else, I don't know if I could have continued on the pod. Or maybe I would just be silent when we talk about Premier League.
You're playing for Curacao. We're just talking shit about Curacao.
and then I would be like, no, in training we're doing well, brother.
This player shit. It's always my best friend. Yeah,
but it definitely is a better if I'm not involved. That's obviously it's much easier for me to talk.
Yeah. We obviously pay you more anyway.
Yeah, I mean the contract I signed is it's life changing.
That's why we're doing it through Zoom. Yeah.
All the money that should have gone into like a proper studio, it just came to
Nice one. Right, let's move on to Mecca. Thinking of talking about teams, I remember a text you sent it must have been a couple of days ago. I don't know if I read it out loud, but you mentioned Temeka, and they've had a poor few months. They did win today against High U. They'll be fine, I think, in terms of relegation. I think they will be fine. They've added some players. The bar from Levadia. I remember you mentioned that Sander Lit was going there, but I never actually saw it officially done by Temeka, so I was surprised to see him playing today. Sander Lit's gone to Temeka.
No, it was
So,
they did make a video.
did it? Oh, I didn't see it.
Uh,
Oh,
Yeah, I
missed
think
it.
they did.
Oh, I missed it. Well, anyway, he's there. I think they've made some good signings. I think, but obviously they lost Bashir as well to start in Norway.
Well, I think it's good that they made a sale. I think that's very positive. It's positive for Tammeka. I mean, they can always now use it to make a next sale that they can show to the world that, or to the foreigner, that you can make a jump from our club. That was important. But I think they made great signings. I think Järvelaid is an amazing signing. But he came back from a massive injury, a very difficult injury. So you have to give a little bit time. I think that's why the first few games were a little bit okay. He when he came back from injury, he played for Levadia's second team, a couple of games in the Levadia's first team. But obviously, to play for Levadia is easier. Yeah,
He's
mostly
still
with the
not
ball.
played a lot, has he? Like it's going to take time, as you said.
Yeah, it's as well mental as well, to go into a challenge, not fearing about your knee. Yeah, that's I think the biggest that he has to overcome. But yeah, Järvelaid, overall a very very good signing. Elite as well. I think for Premium Liga standards, a fighter. I think he suits well in the team. Have they done any more? I think
Mustafa from Levadia, the other striker.
okay. I don't know. I don't know much about it. I don't know much about it.
He played a couple of times for Levadia, scored a couple goals, but he was kind of I guess the Robert Kurz role, where he just came on for 20 minutes at the end.
Yeah, he played 7 times this year. He didn't score, but last season he scored 3 times over it.
Yeah. I mean, for Temeka, I think they saw, I'm making this up, but they saw Gero go to Narva from Levadia. And we're like, do you know what? We could get our own striker from Levadia. And
well, they needed to.
That's actually very rare. If you think about recent years, or for example, when I was in Narva, there weren't really any exchanges between a Levadia, Narva, or Levadia, Kalev, or any clubs of the Estonian players. So it's actually fun to see that. Okay, now there's some kind of loanings, not just with Estonian players, but with foreigners. I think that's great to see.
Yeah, I agree.
And they had to replace Bashir as well, obviously. He was scoring the goals, and because Koska kind of slowed down a bit, and he scored today. He won the penalty today. I know he's doing more for the team instead of scoring, but I feel like I wouldn't say he's been disappointing, but I was expecting more goals from him. I was expecting 10, 12 goals from Koska this year.
Yeah, I think Oscar deep down knows as well that he needs to step up. He needs to now lead the team. But I think overall the team itself is not suiting maybe well his style, because he's the sort of player that he wants the balls in the zone. He wants just in the zone where he can run towards with his face towards the goal, and just behind the defensive lines. But he hasn't had that many of those chances this season.
I didn't realize he was that fast. There was a pass earlier, and he was gone. I didn't realize he was that fast.
Yeah, he's quick.
Yeah.
It's like it's Purre. You don't think it's quick, but he's quick.
Yeah.
He's
I
quick.
want to bring up their 8-1 defeat. I don't feel like we should gloss over that. As you know, before that they lost 2-1 to Flora, then 3-1 to Kariu, then 4-1 to Narva, and then they come up against Vatpras and get absolutely, 4-1 to Narva, and then 4-1 to Kariu, then 4-1 to Narva, and then they come up against Vatpras and get absolutely, 4-1 to Narva, and then they come up against Vatpras and get absolutely, 4-1 to Narva, and then they come up against Vatpras and get absolutely smashed 8-1. I've always been a believer of no matter what league you play in at a top level, no one should be conceding 8 goals. As a player, Martin, what would they have been feeling after that? Obviously, it's shit, but like, what's
just think about the worst day you've had in your work. I mean, that's the feeling. I mean, it's a
just one.
and now think about the worst day at work, and it's broadcasted live to the entire of the world. I mean, it's not a nice feeling.
Wasn't this game on national TV? Wasn't it on ETV?
It was on ETV too, yeah.
Yeah. So it makes it makes it worse. Yeah.
So they had the good cameras out for that one.
They had the good cameras out, and I mean, listen, it's a horrendous feeling. I don't in Premium League. I don't think I've had like a. Oh no, I did have. It was during Narva days. We had like a couple of big losses. But yeah, it's not a nice feeling. I mean, it's. But again, if you look at the game, it was something that everything that's just Vapros is trying, it works out. Some days are like that. For example, the Puder's goal. I mean, we all know it's a cross, but it's gonna go in. Yeah, I'm now happy that Tammeka have like bounced back from it, because I was scared that okay, maybe it's gonna have like a bigger effect on them, maybe mentally they will like collapse. But next game was against Paide. They gave a good fight and just lost 1-0, and now they won very solidly 3-0 with 10 players. So it's not like they have like a complete catastrophe, but just the one game was just awful.
Does that win today against Haru 3-0? Will that then be for them saying, okay, we're now safe?
No, because the gap is only 5 points with the ninth place. But it gives them a little bit of a breathing room for sure. But they're nowhere near safe. They're nowhere near safe.
Do you think they will be? Sorry.
If you phrase the question that do I think they will stay up, then yeah, they will stay up. I think they will finish 7th. Because my opinion hasn't changed about who I think will finish last.
I just feel like with Tammeka, it's from last season to this season, the drastic downturn. Like, you can look at it in terms of, they finished 5th last season, and currently they're 7th, so it's not too bad. But then you look at it based on points. They're 20 points behind what they had last season, currently. I'm just checking that they're not scoring as many goals.
They got 42 points last season.
Yeah, they're currently on 22. They've conceded 60 goals already this season. 60 goals. And even if you take away the 8 from Vapros, they've still conceded more this season than they did last season. I can't, in a footballing term, I just can't think of such a drastic downfall. I think they're very lucky that there are worse teams in the league than what they've been. Because I think any other season, like if they were like this last season, I think they would have been Norman United. They could have quite easily gone down.
I mean, you do say that you haven't witnessed a drastic downfall, but I mean, what did Kalev do? I mean,
yeah.
they were fighting for that.
But when you talk about Kalev, you can say it was kind of expected, right? But I think with Tammeka, they kept most of the squad together, and we talk about Caillou, something's not clicking. It feels like the same here, despite last season it did kind of work.
I do get it, because in Kalev, the transformation was so much bigger. So we, yes, even if they would have kept the same squad, I don't think they still would have made a successful season as they did last season. But the change was very drastic. Yeah. But Tammeka, the squad is pretty much similar, and again, some voodoo things are going on. I wanted to say a bad word, but I stopped myself. But it's similar to Kalju, it's maybe something inside, or just something is not clicking at the moment. But they have potential, and I think if you look at on paper, this team, they have stronger team than Kuressaare. They have stronger team than Kalev. They have stronger team than Harju. So I think that's why I think they will finish above them.
I agree. I do think they'll be fine, but I agree with you. I do think they come 7th, but it's just been poor, isn't it?
Yeah. It has been. Right, let's move on to Harju. You predict the Martin end of the year to finish bottom. The last 10 games of the season are going to be home games. Do you still stand by that? They've had one win through July and August against Kuressaare. They've lost to Kalev, which was a huge loss. They've also lost to Tammeka today, another team around them. It's a 5-point gap between them and Kalev, who are currently on bottom. And you think they're still going to finish 10th?
First of all, I think this is a complete joke that they have the whole home games till the end of the season. It's the first time I've seen this kind of thing in my life. It's not even when I was under 10s playing football, something like this happened.
Yes, do you know what? I was doing it because I was doing my research and I was writing down the fixtures for September for all teams, just seeing what's favourable and all that. And I was thinking, that can't be right. And I just clicked on the see more bit on the Jagdpol website and fucking just a whole thing of Harju. But then if you look at it, they've had a shit ton of away games recently. So it does but we never mentioned that. We did notice that, but ridiculous.
Yeah, well, the fact is at the end of the season, it does add up. They have the equal amount of home games. The amount of home games they should have. But yeah, I mean, the opinion hasn't changed. I think they will finish bottom.
Okay. So arguably the biggest game of their season is going to be against Kalev again, which is the game one before last. So the 35th game of the season, they come up against Kalev, surprisingly at home. We'll talk about Kalev later. Have Harju got, with the 10 games left, can they keep that 5-point gap compared to
I don't know, because I was looking at. I'll speak about Kalev now briefly. I feel like they have really strengthened their squad in this window.
Yeah,
I feel like with what they've done, you can see them definitely surviving, right? So in my head, I've been thinking, who's got the worst squad, Harju or Kuressaare? And in my head, I think it's Kuressaare, right? But then Kuressaare have that knack of always just nipping it, right? But from watching Harju today, well, the bits I did have a sleep during it, but I wasn't that impressed with them. But then when I watched them play against Kura when they beat them a few weeks back, they looked like prime Barcelona. Like for the first half hour, they were fantastic. They were so good. So I think it's going to be really close. I think it probably will go down to the last 1 or 2 weeks, definitely. And that, like you said, that game against Kalev is going to be massive. But then I'm just going to speak about Kura. And I know it's Harju, but you look at Kura's next games for the month, and they play Kalev, Harju, and Tammeka.
And now I'm looking. Surprisingly, Harju's next game is an away game. But if I'm and then I think till the end of the season is home games. But if listen, you mentioned Kuressaare's next games, Harju's next games, Narva. Okay, then against Kuressaare. But then Paide, the Kalju, Vaprus, Flora, again Kalju. It's crazy. In my obviously you can never make like that's Estonian league, the best league in the world, obviously, as we all know. So we can never predict what's gonna happen. But the chances of them getting a 0 points out of the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe like 6 games. Okay, they have a Kuressaare game in the middle, but like five losses, it's pretty realistic. And I think if that's why I still think they will finish bottom. I think that's just the fixtures. They don't favor them as well. But at the same time, I think their home helps them. Obviously they do feel more comfortable them. But it's a new turf. I think so. I mean, it's new for them as well. So it's not like they've been used to it playing on there. So
I say what you were saying there with the games. I feel the same. With Kalev for them, they've got Kuressaare to play twice, including on the last day. So their last 3 games is Temeka, Harju, Kuressaare, which could be, the greatest escape of all time if they needed those points in between there. They've got Kuressaare as their next league game. And then after that is games, against like your Levadias, your Floras, your Narvas, games where you look at where it's like, oof. But after Temeka's win today, they got, so let's forget about Temeka. Out of the bottom 3, Kalev are the informed team since we last recorded. So, I think it's going to go down to the wire. I think as a neutral, I feel like I'd like to see Kuressaare go down. Again, it's personal.
yeah, I think you've said it like many times on the pod.
And I think Harju are going to stay up in 8th. I think Kalev will come 9th. Kura will come bottom.
I just don't think it seems like we've just bonded these 3 teams together, but I just don't think Harju and Kuressaare strengthened at all. I know Kuressaare mainly relying on whatever Flora given pretty much, and
they got Antonov as well.
Oh, from Antonov came in, yeah.
That's a very good sign.
Yes.
Yeah. But Harju, I just don't feel like. I noticed they had some new guy playing today, Mohamed Karamu, who joined from Meta in Latvia. I wasn't even aware he had signed. I just didn't recognize him when I saw him on the pitch. And I also feel like the defender they signed, Nordin Kamara, the one who was in the Bayer Leverkusen youth team. I don't think he's that great either. So, whereas Kalev seemed very active in improving the squad, but the other 2 haven't. Again,
obviously we have a little bit of insight who Kalev rejected, who they didn't want to bring in. But I'm actually a little bit surprised of who they brought in. Like, it's so many foreigners. It's and they're like you don't know if they're gonna make it there, because they have some questionable guys already that they're not doing so well. So it's like a lottery if the new guys will be good.
So Kalev have, they brought in Dubakic from Paide on loan. Petrunin's returned after spending some time in. He was down at Star Media. He also was in like the 7th division of Norway.
He's been abroad for so many years now.
Yeah. Hindrik Oyama.
That's a good signing.
I really like that signing. They've signed some random striker from Vimpsy who's just signed for Vimpsy from some Senegalese team. So I'm unsure on how that works. We were trying to, when we're talking in our Kalev chat, we're trying to figure out who the hell this guy is. And you've got this Hong Kong striker who's like racist towards the Chinese. If you read his Wikipedia account. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. And then obviously the goalie, Max Weinstein, the American guy. I don't think he's
Macedonian.
and the Macedonian. I don't think he's lived up to Weinstein, the goal. I don't think he's lived up to the hype of an American goalkeeper coming into the Estonian league.
It's a difficult situation, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
He's come into like the worst defense in the league, and he's having shot after shot. Like half of the defenders at Kalev, I say half. One of the centre backs in particular just seems to be scared of the ball, and every time it comes near him, he takes a step back and just. But you can see that Weinstein's better than the lot they had. I feel like you stick a better defense in front of him, and it's different.
I think it may sound a little bit bad, but I think for a goalkeeper to sign okay, I say the worst team because they're bottom of the league. To sign for the worst team, I think it's maybe a blessing because that's what happened with Karel Cobain. You go there, yes, the team is probably will be relegated, but it's your time to show yourself. You have, I would rather be the team that I have actually something to do. I can, show you my quality. I can make some saves. If I sign for Barcelona, I don't even touch the ball for 90 minutes. Then, nobody knows about me. Like Wallner, let's remember, Wallner was playing for Kalev before he signed with Levadia. And Kalev was, I think, they were bottom of the league. So I think for Weinstein, I think it's a great lesson, lesson for him. He can actually develop a lot. And I think I mentioned on the last pod as well that when he signed, then Ryan Lindsay put me in contact with him because I was open. I didn't have a club, so I messaged Weinstein because Weinstein wanted to have like a one-on-one training as well. He needed somebody to shoot some balls at him and so. But eventually, I left. I came to Tartu, so I would have maybe if I would have had more time, I would have maybe met with him and trained with him and would have known a little bit more. But I think it's a great opportunity for him to shine in that team.
There was an interview with him as well, and he was saying that in Estonia, there's a lot more one-on-one situations than what he's used to in America. So maybe he's just not used to facing so many shots as well, which, again, learning curve.
What do you mean one-on-one? Like attacker comes one-on-one?
Yeah.
Pretty much saying like there's no defense.
For Kalev, there's not. Yeah.
I might have misquoted it, but there was an interview with him with some American magazine or something, and he was saying like it's a different kind of style of play to what he's used to in like America, like with how attackers play and what have you. I suppose it goes to like kind of what you say with Estonian wingers not taking people on and put balls in. Maybe it's it is kind of maybe something like that. So you're sticking with Harju to come bottom then?
I have not changed it. I will not change till the end of the season because there's no reason to change. Just looking at the form, and I think Kalev as well. Yes, they are bottom. Yes, they're still losing games, but I think they are playing better. I think Usta, I think he's been really dangerous for them. I think you can see he's pretty dangerous for every single game, even against Flora.
He was on the list for the national team as well, apparently.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Something
off camera to talk about. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's it for the Premier League. Did we want to dive in?
Before we move on to something else, on Premier League, players that have impressed you through July and August. Martin, you go first.
I mean, I love this segment. This is this is strawberry on the cake, Obviously, let's start with Vaprus players. I mean, I obviously want to say absolutely everybody, but I have to pick somebody else. Obviously, Palberg has been amazing. Obviously, there's no need to talk more in detail. He's been doing absolutely amazing. He shows he's very mature in the way he plays, even though he's only 16. So I really hope that he can make like a good transfer somewhere abroad. I think I don't want to see him being stuck in Estonian for so long. For Vaprus, I think as well. I think obviously Bio, but Kapper. I would say Kapper because he's been making the goals. He's showing his experience. Also in the last game against Paide, it's been very very good. And I will think a little bit more about the next players. I will maybe Nate can continue.
I'm picking. I've already spoke about him. He's my boy at Narva, and it's Maximkin.
I think you've said it absolutely every time.
Yeah, because he's brilliant. Wait till our end of season one when we pick our player of the year. Guess who it's going to be? I just think he's brilliant. You can see the improvement of a player from last season, and he captains the team as well, doesn't he? Sometimes.
Yeah, he's captain.
Yeah. I just feel, and he's scoring goals. He's getting assists. He tackles hard. He plays hard, and I think he's this month and last month. I think he's been really good. And again, you like you mentioned, Uster for Kalev as well. He's played really well and scoring some goals, which is good for Kalev to see them actually scoring goals.
Yeah, I was going to go with Uster, but I'll go a bit higher up the league and say Matthias Manalan. I think although KU haven't been playing at their best, I think he's been a really important player for him. He's been scoring. He scored a couple of goals. He's chipped in with a load of assists. I think he's their biggest goal contributor this month, or in the last since we last spoke, for KU. I think it was a really nice signing. I wish he stayed abroad, but yeah, I'll go Manalan. I'll say Uster was my other shout as well, and then you could even go into Paido and name one of the Gambians, but I'll stick with Manalan.
I think if we talk about Paides, then I think Miller has been very consistent.
Yeah,
I think it's been you know what you get from him, and I think that's amazing. I think that's like every coach's dream that he will deliver. He's obviously not like a goal scoring machine. He's not like up with the big numbers all this in every season, but he's so influential, and you can see that he's always making a goal or making an assist. So he's doing so well.
Stojkovic said it, didn't he, on our podcast, or was it you who said it? Stojkovic said that Miller was the only one of his signings that was actually a decent signing.
Did they really say that?
Not in those words, but like he was the only one that was, like you're saying, like was consistent and put performances in every single game. And
we mentioned, we said if you could sign any player, where we do our quick fire questions, if you could sign any player in the Premier League, who would it be? And he just said Martin Miller. So they already signed him. But there we are.
Okay, that's the Premier League. National team got announced. It's always a fun time when the national team gets announced. We all have our opinions of who should be in it and who shouldn't be in it. It's also a farewell game. It'd be interesting to see Flora Tallinn manager Konstantin Vasiljev suit up one last time to say goodbye to the fans, as well as Tunista is playing as well. That's just against Andorra because Italy's the qualifier, isn't it? I've got the team in front of me. It's about what you'd expect. Obviously, Karol Irma has been called up as well. It's interesting to see Henry Anier still in the team as well. What's your takes on the squad?
I think Anier is expected. I think he's, if you look at other strikers, the Sapinen as well. Obviously, similar to Anier, he's very high quality striker, but not just in the best of form. Sarma, he's I think slowly starting to find his feet in the abroad. Haven't seen any of the games, but I've read that he started to make some assists and started to contribute, which is good to see. And obviously Erme, which it's difficult to comment. It's obviously great to see new guys getting the call-ups. yeah, just difficult to add on him. It's just nice to see. But apart from that, I think it's pretty expected. Obviously, I hope, I want to see like a very good Kite now in this window, because I think Kite is a great form. He made like a very nice transfer as well. I think he plays for FC Thun,
FC Ton,
Thun,
yeah.
Thun, yeah.
I say ton,
Uh,
yeah, but
Thun, yeah.
we got no culture, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think the overall it's expected. It's quite similar to the last one.
I say not much is expected against Italy. A defeat is expected.
No. But I mean, you do say that, but it's funny because when I was in Italy, and even now, I've spoken with some of my friends there, and they are not joking. I'm not. I'm like they're being 100% real, and they are a little bit worrying that they will lose to Estonia, because their national team, they are struggling at the moment. So it's not like, obviously I think Italy is expected to win. I think they will probably win, but it will not be, from the Italians' point of view, it will not be that straightforward as we think.
So
I say talking about sorry.
So if I was allowed to finish, Jurgen Henn has got Estonia playing a bit more competitively. So maybe it's not going to be as one-sided as your Italian mates. We're in the same opinion. It might not. I say Italy probably will get the 3 points, but it won't be like 2-3 years ago where you're like, oh, it's going to be 5-6-7-0. It's going to be more competitive.
When you talk about Italy, I think I read a statistic about Italy. You could be born in something like, it was like August 2006 and never have watched Italy play in a World Cup, which is absolutely bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah,
a team
I mean,
like
such a big footballing nation.
Yeah.
No, but Reece, like, it's the Italians. They don't know. They don't care. Is Jurgen Henn the head coach or not? They don't watch the games. They just think about their own national team, and they are worried about Estonia, even though they don't know how we are gonna play and how we're gonna approach. But it just shows that they have holes in the team, that they are not that confident. And if you're trying to think positively, then when else are we gonna win Italy if not now? It's like with Narva, we told them like get top 4 this season, or when is the next time? Like, you have to take the chance.
I mean, there's a shock there, So the players are there. You've got Hein, who's just joined Werder Bremen. Piscotzi's at Genk in Belgium. Sama is a part of Buche now in Czech Republic. Sinyavski's just joined a new club in the Czech Republic. So there's talent there. They're playing in top leagues. It's not as if everyone's playing in the Premier League. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, but the thing is that individually, I think everybody has made a step up. But as a team, you need to be together for many years, and that's just what this team hasn't had time to do. So this will be like a big task for the coaching staff to make everything shoot smoothly.
Yeah. Okay. Is anyone want to add anything else?
I mean, you guys had an operation. We talk about my summer. What about you?
I had a very delicate operation on a very delicate part of the human body.
Yeah, we don't have to go into detail.
That's
I'm aware
why,
of it.
if you've noticed, I've been wriggling a bit during this podcast, like not being able to sit still. That would be why.
But the most important thing is we are all here for you. All the listeners are here for you. We are in your, we're keeping you in our prayers. And how are you feeling right now after the operation?
Sore. I say I could talk about a bit off camera if you want, but yeah, right now it's.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the people want to know the details. Probably not.
I'm very sore, but recovering.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
And I'm swell. I haven't had any problems.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? For
Yeah, I think
July
so.
and August. We'll be back at the end of the month because there's another international break in there in October. So we should have
Yeah.
the national squad for then. Maybe someone new surprising in the national team. Next
Yeah,
month.
never know. And the
Who knows?
next episode we can have talk about how the national team did and exciting Premier League games as well. So
Yeah.
another exciting month ahead.
We'll have to figure out how to do that next one actually, because we're actually in Estonia at the end of next month. So
You want to make it live?
fuck it, we could try it.
I think we should try it. If there's a chance we can do it, we should do it.
Wait, the hundred thousands of people listening, they want to know when are you guys coming to Estonia?
30th of September. Just we've talked about your life. We've talked about your surgery. Bit about me for a minute.
Yeah. I want to limelight on you as well.
I've lost my passport. So I've been jumping through hurdles talking to fucking brilliant civil servants at the HMRC. Not HM, who is it? His Majesty's Passport Office trying to sort out a new fucking passport. And I should.
So we might not be coming.
Yeah, I should be all right because I've paid for fast track, and I've
So
got a meeting next week.
Only Reece is coming.
My wife's coming out for. She's always wanted to see Estonia. She's been very jealous of all the trips we've been on there, so she's finally coming to see the country.
It's a beautiful country. Maybe, like, I don't know about my schedule yet. It's quite packed, but maybe I have time to meet, or maybe you guys can come to Elva to watch the game.
If schedules permit, yeah. At the moment, we've got 2 games. Only watching 2 games this year, which is Kalev. Obviously, they've got Levadia. They got Levadia?
No, they haven't. They got
Narva, and it was Levadia Temeko, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like those were the only games we were watching at the minute. Other than that, we were literally going to head down to like Tartu or something. Maybe even go spend a day in Helsinki if time's good. But we also wanted to like try record some videos out there as well, like penalty shootouts and with some of the teams if they let us.
So 30th till
7th, maybe.
Yeah, it's Tuesday to Tuesday.
Okay, so everybody listening, try to walk around the town. Maybe you can find Reece and Nate at that time.
Won't be hard to not find us. We'll be in some the caffeine in the old square.
That would be the McDonald's.
Yeah.
The McDonald's.
Yeah, on Boru, yeah. Right. No meeting us at the airport for autographs when we arrive because it's going to be very late and we're going to be very tired. All right. Right. Yeah, I think that's it. We'll be back sometime in end of September. Yeah.
Nice one.
Yeah. See you.
Cheers.
Yeah.
See ya.